Just for simplicity's sake, I'm just going to draw a very simple spiral labyrinth. So I'm just starting in the center. You want to leave enough space between the lines so that when you are walking the labyrinth with your finger has room to move forward on the path. The next step is to cover the lines that you've drawn in the labyrinth with yarn or jute. In this case, I'm going to use jute because it's a little bit thicker and there will be more dimension to the labyrinth. So I'm just going to do a little portion of this. You want to put some glue on the line that you've drawn with your marker. A good trick for using tacky glue is to lay it down on its side when you're not using it, and then you don't have to shake it down to the top every time. This one's been standing up. A spiral labyrinth is really, it's not a bad kind of labyrinth to work with because you can still get there's still some good benefit from walking a spiral labyrinth. But you can see the glue is starting to come out now. So I'm just going to place it on I'm going to try to follow the line that I've drawn with my marker with the glue. And I would go all the way into the center, but I'm just going to show you the first part for the sake of illustration. It's good to always put your cap on your tacky glue so it doesn't dry out. And then what you want to do is to just take your jute or yarn and lay it right on top of the glue line that you made. There are many different ways to finish your labyrinth, your finger labyrinth. I'm just going to show you one way and I'm just going to show you the first part of it here because working with this plaster gauze is a little bit tricky. So you're going to order this from art supply stores. It's called ortho tape. You can also probably get it from a medical supply store. You could also just paint over the top of this, but I like to cover my entire labyrinth surface with a layer of the plaster gauze. So when you use the gauze, it's a good idea to cut it into strips that are about 1 inch wide. And I've noticed that different kinds of this ortho tape respond differently. This stuff is really flimsy and a little bit hard to work with, so I'm going to also cut the strip in half before I put it on my labyrinth. When you get ready to apply the plaster to the labyrinth, you just dip it in the water, and you want to make sure it's nice and wet. You can let it drip off a little bit, and then you lay it on top of the line that you've drawn and the yarn or jute that you've placed there. And you can see that there are little holes in the labyrinth or the gauze. And so what you want to do is try to smooth out those holes as much as you can. And when you are applying these layers of plaster, you can overlap the pieces slightly, and that helps them to stick together and stick to the surface that you're trying to cover. So that's it. Basically, then you would just lay the jute or yarn down all the way to the center of the labyrinth and cover all of the strips or all of the lines of yarn or jute with the plaster until you've got the entire surface of your board covered. To paint my finger labyrinth, and I'm going to use this color shift paint. It's really fun. It's kind of iridescent and it changes colors. I'm not sure how it's going to look on the surface of the labyrinth, but let's just see. Let's just see how it looks. And the surface of the labyrinth is uneven, but I don't really mind that. It kind of gives it the feel of like it being made out of rock. So I just want to give it a good solid coat. I want to try to cover up all the white that's in there. And I'm probably also going to paint the raised surfaces. Somehow I'm going to make them a slightly different color so that they stand out more. I'll know more once I get this all covered.